Hello, everyone. Welcome back to DLM Druggies Lives Matter, my Black Lives Matter offshoot program. I'm not taking anything away from Black Lives Matter because, yes, black people are brutalized by the police more often than any other nationality in America. But this program is to point out a simple fact. Black people are not the only ones who are suffering because of police brutality. This little piece of evidence is compliments of York City Police. York, Nebraska, by the way. So, even in a small shithole town like York, Nebraska, a poor white girl's just as brutalized as any black person. Now, statistically speaking, more black people are killed, yes. And I am sorry for that. However, I am not a prejudiced person. I've never been prejudiced. I don't know how to be prejudiced. And DLM is the program that I created to point out that drug users are relevant too. And to point out the obvious fact that George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, the two biggest personalities in this death march, both did drugs. And we are in the streets because they were brutalized, they were killed. And yes, they were black. But Breonna Taylor would still be alive today if there had not been a drug-related search warrant issued for her residence. Her death was a direct result of the war on drugs. You cannot walk away from that. Look at the warrant. And it is proven fact that George Floyd had drugs in his system when he died. Fox News is all about telling you how it was the drugs that killed him. No, it was the war on drugs that killed him. He was yet another casualty in the war on drugs. The war on drugs has been going on for 100 years. The first prohibition against drugs was cocaine in 1915. The second one was alcohol in the 20s that was repealed because there's just too many alcoholics in America to allow that to be illegal. But it became the template for the modern war on drugs. Now, cocaine was a special case because of the illicit salesmen who were poisoning people with home brews that were laced with cocaine. And the government decided it was just easier to make cocaine illegal than to imprison all of the traveling salesmen that were killing people. Now, that's just ridiculous to me. Why would you make a substance illegal because people were using it to kill people? Punish the person doing the crime. But that's that's just beside the point. Anyway, alcohol, when it was prohibited, created, well, it created a split market. We had the legal market where all of the legal items are sold. And then we had the black market where you got your alcohol. And this market wasn't taxed. And it was very, very profitable for the capitalists selling the alcohol and making the alcohol and making the moonshine. But it also created gangs and gangsters, which created a need for elite police forces to deal with this, increasing the amount of police officers necessary and the funding for them because they needed bigger, better toys to play with because the gangsters had the bigger, better toys too. So we have a proliferation of the police empowerment during the 20s because of this black market that was very profitable and also profitable for the government because the government raised taxes to pay for the funding for the new police forces and government organizations to deal with the gangsters, the violence, and the illicit or alcohol traffic. And it's like the police enjoyed it. They were playing cops and robbers, only cops and gangsters. However, the society would not accept alcohol as illegal because just too many people enjoyed it. And it was the first truly uh, illegal drug because of enjoyment. Cocaine wasn't because of enjoyment. That was supposed to be medical. But alcohol was because people were enjoying it. So they had to make it legal again because the country just said, fuck you, we're not going to we're not doing this. So they repealed the Alcohol Act. But the government used the techniques of the prohibition of alcohol when they began prohibiting other substances like marijuana and all of the other drugs that have followed since. Because once marijuana was made illegal, it's like there goes history. Any drug the government decided was not profitable for them on the legal market, they could just make illegal and sell it to the public, give it to the public, and let it go on the black market so that people could really profit from it, and then they could in turn profit from their government activity to suppress the illegal activity of the black market. And once the drug war got rolling, then another market emerged, the corrections market. Those those corporations and businesses and the government official mechanism, the lawyers and all that goes into the operating of the war on drugs, which created the secondary market where prisons became profitable, a form of slavery. And I spent 2 years in prison, so I can tell you I was a fucking slave. $48 a month is not a living wage. That's slavery. At the profit of the owner of the prison, the company or the private owner of the prison. All of which is very profitable. Which is why every time a drug like LSD comes along that can't be profited on the legal market, they just give it to the black market. Then they can make lots of money off of it through the war on drugs. And that has led us to Black Lives Matter. Because the empowerment of the police through the war on drugs and the profits made by everybody involved, keeping it going, has led us to this place where we are today. Now, what is the justification for the war on drugs? The drugs are bad. People who do the drugs are criminals and need to be done away with. They need to go to prison because they're bad people because they do drugs. Okay? So the drug makes you a bad person because the law says that the drug is bad. And that if you do the drug and you sell it, then you go to prison. Okay, where are the facts that make drugs bad? Now, LSD is an illegal drug. In microdoses, it's been found to be very effective as to help people with severe mental problems. It's a drug. It's medicinal. Marijuana has been proven to be medicinal. Opioids were medicinal. All of the drugs were medicinal. And normally people who use drugs do it because they need to medicate and they're medicating cheaper and better. Because you see, the drugs on the black market don't have bad side effects like the ones on the legal market. Because on the legal market, if you're going to waste your time on a drug, it better have 5 or 6 bad effects so that you can create more health issues for your patients so that you can sell them more drugs. That's how our medical system works. So if a drug like LSD isn't profitable on the open market, or marijuana is not profitable because there's no side effects. You don't get side effects from pot, you don't get side effects from LSD, and you don't get side effects from cocaine. You don't get side effects from opium either. But you do get side effects from the legal drugs. There's no money on the legal market for a drug that doesn't have 5 or 6 side effects. So they put it on the illegal market so that they can hunt down and imprison everybody who uses a drug. That's much more profitable than selling a drug that doesn't give you more problems because it might cure you. And if you're cured, then you won't have to go back to the doctor. Well, that would be bad, wouldn't it? Yeah, it would. For the open market. But on the black market, doesn't matter. It can be as good for you as possible. Because you're not profiting from it. It's like the little guys that are doing the drugs, it's not about profit for us. That's just the people who keep the war on drugs rolling. It's profitable for them. And it's not profitable for them to stop doing it because they lose all that. It's like the third market, the tertiary market of corrections would simply fall away. The black market would also fall away. And then you'd have to pay taxes on everything. Nobody wants that. So the war on drugs is a fun time for all the bigwigs while they oppress those who have nothing. And all in the name of profit. So I'm going to call it quits for there. So may the Grey watch over you, guide you, protect you, and keep you from all harm. May they teach you right from wrong, and may you be worthy of them. May your thoughts, words, and deeds reflect truth, good, and light, the unicorn way. Find your joy and pursue it. Make that your guild choice when we get to Camp Zion. If you want to know what that's all about, go to Pot Smuggler's Bible on YouTube and find out. My name is Zion. I love you way too much to say goodbye, so I'm going to say later now.